Welcome back for another video. In this video we'll look at the top players for predicted points in Gameweek 26 and over the next 5 game weeks to guide your transfer plans and make your captaincy easier. If you want to up your FPL game as we approach the tail end of the season, I strongly recommend the Fantasy Football Scout members area. I've been a member for almost 6 years. The tools I use every game week are the fixture ticker, the data tables and the player comparison. That said, there's tons of tools, so give it a try using the link below and see which you find useful. It also supports the channel. Thanks to Scout for supporting the channel, and click the link below to try it now. We've got some big game weeks ahead, and we've had an upset in the FA Cup. Leicester are out of the Cup, which does mean they'll play in Game Week 28 along with Brentford. These are the Game Week 28 fixtures. The last 2 teams to be confirmed are Southampton and Tottenham, who are about 95% likely to blank in 28 as well. So no game for Brighton, Fulham, Liverpool, Man City, Man United or West Ham in Game Week 28. We need to be clever with our transfers and chip strategy now. So let's start with the goalkeepers, and with that in mind, transfers made now need to be mindful of the upcoming blank game week in 28. Ramsdale's top this week projected 4.5 points, home to Bournemouth this weekend, and he does play in Game Week 28. If you're on a wildcard, Ramsdale and Kepa are 2 good picks to consider. Kepa's projected 4.1 points for the home fixture to Leeds. Chelsea did announce this week though that Thiago Silva's picked up an injury which will rule him out for around 6 weeks. He'll be a huge miss at the back and you expect it will weaken them defensively. If you're looking to wildcard this week or next, then you want to target Game Week 27 and 29 as well, which are both double game weeks. Brentford and Brighton in particular, who double in both weeks, and in Brentford's case they don't blank in Game Week 28, sandwiched between. This makes Riot a very handy keeper to consider, especially on a wildcard. Between Game Week 27 and 29 you get 5 games out of him over 3 game weeks. Brentford are home to Fulham this weekend, and Brighton are home to West Ham as well. So if you're on a wildcard, it's a goalkeeper rotation worth considering, especially if you plan to bench boost in Game Week 29. Moving on to the defenders, and Arsenal defenders top the projections. Gabriel with 5.3, Saliba 4.6 and Zinchenko 4.6 points. Again, if you're on a wildcard, the best Arsenal triple up looks like Saka, Odegaard and a defensive asset. Gabriel's still my favourite as he carries the most goal threat. There's a huge haul coming soon. Zinchenko also deserves a mention. He scored his first Premier League goal just a couple of weeks ago. However, post World Cup he's second for shots among all defenders, top for shots on target and third for XG. James has been a frustration all season long obviously, but you could make the case for owning him. With a home game to Leeds this week, a guaranteed home fixture in Game Week 28 to Everton and a double game week in 29 with both home games. 4 home games in 5 matches. That said, I prefer a Brentford defender and Ben Mee's the standout. 95 points for Ben Mee this season, or 4.3 per match on average. Pricier than his counterparts at 5 mil, but one to strongly consider if not this game week then next. Henry's also a good pick for 4.5 mil and he's projected 3.2 points this week. If you plan to wildcard this week or next, then Game Week 27 is important. Therefore, so is the Brighton defensive asset. Dunk makes the projections this week with 4 points. However, Estepinian's the better pick in my eyes with 5 assists this season and he's the same price. He started every match since Game Week 14. Estepinian was absent from Brighton's FA Cup squad on Tuesday though with a minor injury, so keep an eye out for Brighton's press conference on Friday. Moving on to the midfielders, and Saka leads projected 6.6 points this week home to Bournemouth. This season Bournemouth have conceded 81 chances down their left flank, Saka's side. Only Everton have conceded more. Likewise, their 273 crosses conceded down Saka's side ranks worst in the league. Next worst is Forest with 201 conceded, or 72 less crosses. Odegaard is second on the projections with 5.4 points. As we mentioned earlier, on a wildcard these are the 2 worth having. The rest of the midfielder spots are tricky though. Salah and De Bruyne are among the top mids for Game Week 26, but they both blank in Game Week 28, so you wouldn't really want them on a wildcard. Liverpool are home to Man United on Sunday, and Rashford and Fernandes both projected 4.7 points for that fixture. Let's talk about the Brighton mids for a moment, as we're spoiled for choice and they're worth looking at with a double in 27 and 29. Since the restart, March has created 9 big chances to Mitoma's 1, 13 big chance involvements to Mitoma's 6, 19 chances created to Mitoma's 4. So in my eyes, March is the winner and he is cheaper than Mitoma. However, very recently, following the injury to Lallana, McAllister has been playing as a number 10, more advanced. Over that run, he ranks highest between the 3 for big chances with 4, to March's 2, Mitoma's none. McAllister's also top for shots in the box over that run, and he is expected to be on penalties as well. So if we had to rank the Brighton mids right now, it probably looks like March, McAllister and then Mitoma. The latest from De Zerbi is that the possibility of Lallana playing again this season is not likely, so McAllister looks like a good long-term pick. There's no Brentford midfielders worth considering unfortunately, but we'll talk more about the forwards up next. And if this video has been useful, please consider liking it and subscribe to the channel. Gameweek 26 forward projections. Haaland leads with 6.4. So to recap, Saka was projected 6.6. It was actually slightly ahead of Haaland, but next to nothing in it. And as we know, it takes a brave manager to swerve Haaland for captaincy. Kane's projected 5.4 points. In Monday's video, we talked about the pros and cons of wildcarding. Besides targeting the blanks and doubles, another advantage is that you can move on Liverpool assets who play Man United and other players that you may not want to start with a tough fixture. Many sold Kane to Darwin last week, so it is an opportunity to reverse that among other benefits. So Brentford double in 27 and 29, and they play in Gameweek 28. Tony's home to Fulham this weekend as well. In case you missed it, the media have been reporting that Tony's pleaded guilty to many of the 262 charges against him of the FA betting rules. At the time of recording, no decision has been made as far as punishment, but the president said in similar positions in the past that he would be suspended. If you're very on the fence about wildcard, you could grab Tony this week and then make a call in Gameweek 27 and reassess with fresh information. Worst case scenario, Watkins is a very good makeway, and he has scored in his last 5 games in a row, and he doesn't blank in Gameweek 28. Aston Villa play Crystal Palace and West Ham before that as well, and they do double in 29. In any case, Mbeumo from Brentford also deserves a mention, only 5.8 mil. 5 goals and 4 assists this season, not particularly consistent returns or reliable, and he does tend to come off early, but if Tony does get suspended, then he might be their primary source of goals. Though Tony would be a huge miss if he does get suspended, and they might struggle as a team. We've seen some photos of Jesus out in light training, which is concerning for those of us that own Nketiah. He should still be a couple of weeks away from competing for a starting spot, but also something to be mindful of. So that wraps up today's video, thanks for watching. If this video was useful, please consider liking it and subscribe to the channel. I read every comment, so leave one below and I'll be sure to read it. See you soon for the next one.